If there is one thing that I came to this reality to master, it would be definitely controlling anger. I'm impatient, emotional, and passionate about many areas of my life, and this is not a good combination for anyone who's trying to achieve permanent state of higher vibration. One of the beauty of psychedelics is that no matter how stressed or frustrated you are, they'll remove all anger from your system, and they'll do it by elevating you above the simplicity of the human form and by showing you how human our tiny and insignificant problems are. In fact, one of the earliest machine elf messages was about how letting go of stress and anger and being relaxed are one of the biggest struggles of my life. It's on my list of earthly challenges to overcome so that I can become a normal person in this reality. In this video, I will tell you about all my messages from the entities about anger, what it really is, why it is so bad for us, when it is useful, and how to stop being frustrated. If you find these messages beneficial, please show gratitude by supporting this channel and my work through methods listed on the screen. Buy a t-shirt or schedule a chat with me if you wish to receive something in return. All links in the video description. Thank you very much for your help. Let me tell you how serious the problem of anger actually is for me. Imagine that in all my wisdom, I used to argue with what the entities have planned for me here and what they knew about my life. That's how stubborn and argumentative I can be. It took many trips for me to start understanding that these are all lessons and that there is no reason for me to get angry no matter what my earthly ego tells me. They explained to me many times that my anger issues stem from me not following the principles of love, joy and hope, from pertinacity and doubt. But they did admit that it's quite difficult to control this primitive earthly player in this reality. They say that this training is difficult for a reason, and that we're not supposed to get angry when it feels like everything is messed up and upside down, or when you feel like it doesn't work. It is because it's difficult to control the human vessel by our remote consciousness. Keep in mind that everything is planned and arranged according to your training program that you decided to go through yourself. A few weeks ago, when preparing to write this video, I asked the entities to explain to me how anger works, and this is what they showed me. They took me to a big dark room where in the middle was a fast-spinning blue energy sphere that represented our individual life. It was pure metaphysical energy, and it was surrounded by a primitive and shoddy-looking casing. It looked as if someone was using rusty old scrap metal trying to build a shelter. It felt out of place and very human, and it was the complete opposite form of this perfect energy ball that looked as if it was made of living plasma. They said that the box surrounding the energy ball was made of earthly elements, like our jobs and parenthood and everything that we consider to be human struggles in this reality. While this ball of energy actually represented our true metaphysical form, who we really are outside of earthly reality. They said, anger happens when this casing touches that vulnerable sphere, which is the vulnerable you. The friction creates sparks because it rotates so fast and it's so incompatible with this casing. The only way you can avoid this and remove this friction is to put away the casing and make sure that this sphere is exposed and that there is nothing that stops it from growing. Make space for it to grow. That's why you're here, for this thing to develop and live its own life. You're supposed to let it grow to something that you have no idea about. Put all these casing elements aside. Let them only surround this sphere. It was an amazing metaphor that showed me how incompatible our earthly lives became to our true form that we neglect so much in this reality. Pay attention to this message if you're looking for answers about what is frustrating you in our misinformation-loaded reality. When talking about interacting with society and absorbing negative messages and news through media, the entities told me, you're paying attention to lost human beings. When you're watching and paying attention to these people, you're bathing in anger and you're looking at lost people looking for answers. That's why they're so angry. But you're not like them. You should not be paying attention to them. It makes no sense. They're lower vibration humans. They're lost humans. You're not one of them. In another message some time ago, they said, life is like going through a forest with a steady pace and getting angry at laying stones and fallen trees in front of you. You walk around them anyway, but it doesn't matter whether you're angry to the trees and stones, but it does matter to you. While you're doing all of this, you miss out on the beauty of the forest, the fresh air, the fact that you're going through the forest. You're going anyway. You might as well enjoy it. But one of the most personally hurtful truths for me regarding my frustrated mindset was the message I received about me being a parent. As you can remember from a previous 434 video about children, I told you how my son was born angry and how we struggled with his learning to be in control of his emotions. Anger is the reason why I feel like I wasn't doing a good job, and Machine Elves had to step in and offer me a vision of what I appeared to my son as. Through this traumatic message, I learned that I was his first negative frequency in life and that I appeared to him like a blue cloud of electrical distortion, because that's what children see low-frequency humans as at that stage. This intervention allowed me to have a more understanding approach to him and raise him to be a very happy kid that he is today. If you would like to learn more, watch that video. So let's talk now about the definition of anger, as it appears that this emotion is not only reserved for the frustrated ones. It seems that it is an integral part of human condition. And like in my experience, it feels like throughout our life we need to learn how to deal with it and how to control it. All of us have the inner darkness that occasionally resurfaces in the moments of weakness. Anger is a signal, a manifestation of a much deeper issue, like insecurity, fear, or loneliness. And when we get hurt or attacked, it comes out of us because that's what we carry around inside. Anger is also an expensive luxury that only some people can afford, because these, whose lives are filled with important tasks, don't really have the time and energy to waste on pointless frustration, as anger is one of the human passions, but one that is completely impotent, having no effect on anything other than the person who generates it. That's why it is believed that anger is the go-to emotion of those who feel like they have no other tools left at their disposal. Fear is very often disguised as anger, as loneliness combined with anxiety turn into panic, and being left alone with your panic turns into frustration. Settled frustration turns into hatred. But anger masquerades as many other things. Very often it can be a misunderstood expression of sadness, as it is easier to get angry at someone than honestly and openly talk about being hurt. Guilt is when we are frustrated at ourselves for our actions, and resentment is frustration with others for their actions. The conflict between our sexual desires and the social norms manifest very often as autoaggression and depression. Ignorance is a very common foundation for anger, and most of it comes from being in disagreement with reality and believing that some part of it is not right. Yet anger is nothing but a struggle with oneself. We mostly get angry at principles and not at people. So why are our emotional tantrums so detrimental to us? The main reason is that anger, being temporary in its nature, usually results in permanent damage. The consequences of angry actions are much worse than the situation and frustration that lead to them. All the time you spend with elevated adrenaline levels is the time wasted by not accepting the lessons that life has to offer to you. Anger does nothing in terms of divine teachings that your life is supposed to be filled with. An angry mind is a shamefully narrow mind, as frustration damages the one who is subject to it and moves them further away from the path they're supposed to be on. You're not thinking clearly with your blood flowing from your brain to your fists, and you deny your inner guide the wisdom of understanding and forgiveness. The problem with losing one's temper is that one pays the price for it twice. Once when they're angry, and once when they analyze their behavior afterwards. In fact, anger invades not only your thoughts, but also affects your muscles, your heart rate, and your circulation. This is how your ego takes complete control over your reasoning and your biology. And that's why you will be punished not for being angry, but by anger itself. This is why sometimes it's better to lose a conflict than to win it. Always ask the question, what's to be gained? Although in appearance, anger is directed at somebody else, but since it results in arrested development, in reality it turns against you. Being angry means literally paying for others' mistakes with our own emotions and our health. Holding a grudge and getting frustrated slowly kills you from the inside, and that's why the person you allow to anger you becomes in reality the one who conquers you. And the irony is that even though the purpose of your emotional outburst is to make a difference in someone's behavior, it actually only reinforces their position and intensifies their efforts to fight you. But anger can also be quite useful, and if controlled, can become very powerful, as sometimes you need to get angry to motivate yourself to get things done. Sadness usually generates passiveness, but when used constructively, anger can change a lot. Sometimes it feels like the world should get angry more often to fight all the injustice. Getting frustrated can also help you get through difficult moments by empowering and energizing you. Anger is also the messenger of hope, as it is always a precursor to something wrong being corrected. It is also one of the most honest emotions, and like no other, it expresses your true feelings, as there is rarely a reason to fake anger. Frustration is hardly ever dishonest. And that's why it is an incredibly useful tool in the process of self-discovery, because if there is something very small that has power over you, that says a lot about the size of your ego. It's also very useful if you want to learn the truth about your partner or your friends. If they are angry with you, very often it's because they're not getting from you what they really need, and this is usually a disguised appeal for more love and attention. When they get angry at you, it means that you have violated the cooperation contract, and what you're offering is probably less than what they expect. Anger in this case is very often a cover-up for the pain of being taken advantage of, because their frustration is a reflection of your true intentions towards that relationship. It clarifies how much you're willing to sacrifice of yourself to them, and if you're willing to invest more in the future. Valuable relationship is when your irony and sarcasm are met with the same, rather than a negative emotional reaction. But also when you're met with a lack of anger, it will indicate that you mean very little to them. And this is how this emotion can let you learn about other people, as you can measure the size of a person by that which puts them on the edge. And it's usually obvious that the ones that get angry the most are the ones who understand the least. The negative effect of anger resurfaces when you start paying attention to what people say to you when they're frustrated, because very often they have been meaning to tell you all of it for a long time. But on the positive side, anger very often indicates unity and oneness, as it means you're passionate about the same things in life. And the ones who get angry the most are very often the ones who care the most about what you have in common. The good news is that the negative emotion is temporary, and since it is not permanent, it is not a part of who you are, and there is no reason for you to treat it as personal. Anger is an acquired emotion with no roots in your personality, and that's why learning how to control it is an important skill. But preventing it from happening should be the goal for you to master. For that reason, it seems that out of all the emotions we are controlled by, anger is the easiest to stop. Yes, it takes energy to do that, but it's so much easier than damage control. Deep breathing, meditation, and physical exercise are the most basic methods of removing frustration from your everyday life. In terms of your behavior, something as simple as hearing or saying, "I'm sorry," can stop the unwanted avalanche of negative emotions. It's difficult to argue with silence, and it's actually much more powerful than shouting. You can't argue with somebody's back, so walk away from a situation before it gets heated. The purpose of an angry outburst is getting control of the situation, but how can you do that if you cannot even control your own emotions? The opposite of frustration is not being calm, it's actually being empathetic. And forgiveness is a powerful tool in de-escalating any conflict. It's a simple equation where you get more of what you generate. Anger creates only more anger, and forgiveness creates love. Forgiveness has this amazing power to bring back joy into your life, but holding on to resentment creates more pain. Anger is created and thrives in a negative environment, and it will disappear as soon as you cut off its nutrition. And the best way to achieve it is through gratitude, which has been proven over and over again to be the best remedy for stress and aggression. It's important for you to forget fear and to raise your vibration instead of going back to that little wound that won't heal for as long as you keep touching it. Remember that acts of love trump any form of anger, no matter how powerful. Anyone can get angry. It's not a big deal, but what's really difficult is getting angry with the right person, at the right time, in the right way, and for the right reason. According to scientific research, we're born as loving, affectionate, and social beings. Anger is a very unnatural and distorted state of mind. And the truth is that there is never a good reason to be angry, because you either control the situation or you don't. And in both cases, frustrated attitude becomes either an obstacle or a pointless personality accessory. For us, the 434 community, the situation is especially difficult because the more open-minded, self-aware, and intelligent you are, the more difficult living in this society becomes for you. And because of these struggles and not having much capacity left for everyday issues, every bump in the road becomes a painful reminder that our lessons, although more valuable, are also more difficult. That's why it is so important to remember that you're a part of the divine and that you're here for a reason. You need to save your energy to master yourself and access the metaphysical. Did you offer love today? Do you remember to keep high vibrational frequency to enjoy and appreciate this earthly existence? Do you still have faith in your higher self, in higher power, and the metaphysical nature of your existence, hoping for your path to unfold in front of you? Did you offer help? Did you forgive? These are the reasons why especially you need to let go of anger, as you and your job are too important here to waste on unproductive frustration. Love, 434. I will continue this subject in the next, very unusual and new type of video for 434, and I hope you come back here in a few days to listen to another important message. Thank you for watching, and on your way out, please remember that this channel exists only for you, and you're the only one who can help to continue for me to offer you more of these lessons. Thank you for your generosity.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow. Like this video and share it with everyone you care about. For merchandise, go to shop.b434.com. Leave your email address at news.b434.com. Visit the website of the artist and the musician I featured here. For more info or contact, visit b434.com and join 434 social media on YouTube, Facebook, BitChute, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, Reddit, Discord, Telegram, VK, TikTok, Tumblr, LinkedIn, Dailymotion, and a few other ones you can see on the screen now. All links in the video description and at b434.com.